Little House on the Prairie is a reminder of when things were simpler for us in our lives those 45 years ago.
At 61, Melissa Gilbert finally tells the truth about Patty Duke. She was the little girl who captured America's heart, freckles, braids, and all. But behind those bright eyes was a story even Hollywood couldn't script. Melissa Gilbert, born Melissa Ellen Gilbert on May 8, 1964 in Los Angeles, California, didn't just stumble into fame, she was destined for it. Adopted as an infant by actor and comedian Paul Gilbert and his wife Barbara Crane, Melissa's life began under the glow of Hollywood lights. From her earliest days, the hum of movie sets and laughter from backstage were part of her lullabies. Growing up surrounded by cameras and scripts, she developed a love for storytelling that would shape her destiny. But talent alone doesn't guarantee survival in an industry built on fleeting fame. From a young age, Melissa showed something rare: grit. While others faded, she fought to stay, building a career that evolved from child prodigy to respected actress, director, author, and advocate. Her breakthrough came at just 9 years old when she landed the role that would define a generation, Laura Ingalls Wilder on Little House on the Prairie, 1974 to 1983. Based on the beloved books by Laura Ingalls Wilder, the series became a cornerstone of American television, a tender yet powerful ode to family, perseverance, and the pioneer spirit. Audiences fell in love with her. Half Pint, as Michael Landon's Charles affectionately called her, became a household name. With every episode, Melissa delivered raw emotion, warmth, and honesty, creating a character that resonated across generations. She wasn't just acting, she was living Laura's struggles, laughter, and hope. Yet Melissa's story didn't end when the prairie dust settled. Determined to grow beyond her iconic role, she continued to shine in television and film, taking on powerful and emotionally charged projects like Choices of the Heart, 1983, where she portrayed missionary Jean Donovan, and The Miracle Worker, 1979, bringing to life Helen Keller alongside Patty Duke as Anne Sullivan. From child star to Hollywood survivor, Melissa Gilbert's journey isn't just about fame. It's about courage, transformation, and the unshakable spirit of a girl who grew up in front of the world, but never lost sight of who she truly was. Melissa Gilbert's journey has been nothing short of extraordinary. She wasn't just another face on screen. She was a force of nature, unafraid to evolve, adapt, and fight for what mattered most. Her performances revealed a rare maturity, a depth of emotion that defied her age, allowing her to slip effortlessly into complex, dramatic roles. As she grew older, she proved her staying power in Hollywood with appearances in Stand By Your Man, Sweet Justice, and countless guest roles that showcased her versatility and enduring appeal. But Melissa's story wasn't confined to the screen. Between 2001 and 2005, she stepped into one of Hollywood's most influential positions, president of the Screen Actors Guild. In that role, she fought tirelessly for fair contracts, healthcare benefits, and stronger protections for actors in an industry that was constantly changing. She wasn't just acting anymore, she was leading, standing up for thousands of performers across America. Then, in 2008, she returned to her Little House on the Prairie, but this time as Caroline Ma Ingalls in the stage musical directed by Francesca Zambello. The production premiered at the Guthrie Theater in Minneapolis, embarked on a national tour in 2009, and wrapped up at the Starlight Theater in Kansas City in 2010, proving once again that Melissa could captivate audiences on any stage. Her creative spark didn't stop there. She turned to writing, opening up her heart and history to the world. Her 2009 memoir, Prairie Tale, offered a raw, honest look at her life, from the pressures of child stardom to her struggles with addiction and her journey toward healing. Then came My Prairie Cookbook in 2014, a charming blend of family recipes and behind-the-scenes stories from her Little House days, a heartfelt tribute to the fans who'd grown up with her. Through every triumph and setback, Melissa Gilbert remained unapologetically human. Her honesty about personal struggles made her not just admired, but deeply relatable. And just like the roles that made her famous, her personal life, full of love, fame, and heartbreak, has been every bit as captivating as the stories she brought to life on screen. Love, fame, and heartbreak. Melissa Gilbert's romantic life has seen it all. In 1988, at the height of her career, she fell for fellow actor Bo Brinkman, a man connected to Hollywood royalty through his cousin Martin Sheen. Their relationship was fiery, a mix of creative energy and undeniable passion. Together, they seemed unstoppable, two stars burning bright in the same sky. A year later, their world changed forever when Gilbert gave birth to Dakota Paul Brinkman, her first child. Motherhood brought a new layer of meaning to her life, but behind the smiles and red carpet photos, the marriage began to crack. The pressures of Hollywood, personal struggles, and clashing ambitions pulled them apart. After 6 years of trying to hold it together, they divorced in 1994, leaving Gilbert heartbroken but wiser. Then, as if fate wanted to give her story another twist, Bruce Boxleitner entered her life. A familiar face from Scarecrow and Mrs. King and Tron, Bruce had actually been introduced to her years earlier by Michael Landon Jr., Gilbert's longtime family friend. When they reconnected, sparks flew instantly. By 1995, they were married in a ceremony that mixed Hollywood charm with genuine emotion. Together, they built a beautiful, blended family. Gilbert became stepmother to Boxleitner's two sons, and later that same year, they welcomed Michael Garrett Boxleitner, named after her beloved mentor, Michael Landon. For 16 years, they weathered life's storms, balancing acting careers, parenting, and the relentless glare of fame. But even the strongest bonds can fade. In 2011, Gilbert and Boxleitner ended their marriage, closing yet another emotional chapter. Through it all, she emerged stronger, a woman who had loved deeply, lost painfully, and learned to rise every single time. After years of heartbreak, reinvention, and self-discovery, Melissa Gilbert wasn't looking for love, yet love somehow found her. It came quietly, unexpectedly, in the form of actor and director Timothy Busfield, the man audiences adored from 30-something, The West Wing, and Field of Dreams. Their connection was instant. Two seasoned souls who had seen the highs and lows of Hollywood and were finally ready for something real. In January 2013, Gilbert's representative confirmed the news that made fans smile. She was engaged again, but this wasn't a whirlwind celebrity romance. It was grounded in something deeper: shared values, family, and a craving for simplicity. Just a few months later, on April 24, 2013, the couple exchanged vows in an intimate Santa Barbara ceremony, a setting that perfectly mirrored the calm, genuine love they had found in each other. Instead of chasing red carpets, Gilbert and Busfield chose a quieter path. From 2013 to 2018, they made a home in the small town of Howell, Michigan, a world away from the chaos of Los Angeles. There, Gilbert threw herself into local life, finding joy in community work, writing, and the painstaking renovation of an old Victorian home she lovingly called her labor of love. These years were more than just peaceful. They were transformative. Gilbert focused on her health, her activism, and the kind of creative freedom that comes from stillness. Then, in late 2018, the couple felt the pull of a new adventure and moved to New York City. From the serenity of small-town Michigan to the heartbeat of Manhattan, Gilbert embraced yet another chapter, one not defined by fame, but by fulfillment. When Melissa Gilbert moved to New York City, she wasn't just changing her address. She was reinventing her story. Surrounded by the heartbeat of art, theater, and creative energy, She rediscovered the spark that had fueled her since childhood. The city's pulse reminded her who she was, an artist, a survivor, and a woman unafraid to evolve. With her husband, Timothy Busfield, by her side, Gilbert embraced this new chapter with renewed strength and purpose, proving that reinvention isn't just for the young, it's for the brave. At 61, the actress who once captured hearts as Laura Ingalls Wilder on Little House on the Prairie opened up about something she had kept private for decades: her deeply personal and complicated bond with another Hollywood legend, Patty Duke. For years, Gilbert had carefully guarded her truth, revealing only fragments of her journey, but time and wisdom had changed that. Now she was ready to speak freely. With the candor that only comes from a life fully lived, Gilbert shared her reflections, filled with admiration, empathy, and hard-earned perspective. She didn't just talk about Patty Duke's brilliance. She spoke of her courage, her pain, and the haunting realities that lurked behind the Hollywood lights. Patty Duke was one of the most fearless actresses I've ever seen, Gilbert said, her voice steady yet emotional. She had this uncanny ability to bring a character to life so deeply, you didn't feel like you were watching a performance, you were watching someone's soul. For Gilbert, who grew up in front of cameras herself, Duke's raw vulnerability was both inspiring and intimidating. She saw in Patty Duke the very essence of what acting was meant to be: honesty stripped bare, humanity in its truest form. And in honoring her, Melissa Gilbert was, in many ways, honoring her own journey too. Behind the glow of stardom, Melissa Gilbert saw something darker, a reflection of pain she knew all too well. She admired Patty Duke's talent, but she also recognized the torment that hid behind the applause. Duke's life wasn't just a Hollywood story. It was a haunting reminder of what fame could take from those who found it too soon.
When I was younger, Gilbert admitted, I didn't fully understand what Patty was going through. None of us kids in the business did. We thought she was just moody or intense. But later, after living through my own highs and lows, I realized what she endured was nothing short of harrowing. Patty Duke's openness about her bipolar disorder, Gilbert said, gave countless people, including herself, the courage to speak about their pain without shame. For Gilbert, Duke became more than an icon. She became a warning and a source of strength. I looked at Patty's life and thought, if she can survive all that and still find her voice, there's hope for all of us. As she reflected, Gilbert acknowledged that her own life had mirrored some of Duke's struggles: public heartbreaks, health challenges, and battles with addiction. There were times, she confessed, when I felt like I was teetering on the same edge Patty had lived on for years. But watching her reclaim her story gave me the courage to reclaim mine. It was in Patty Duke's survival that Gilbert found her own roadmap, not just for enduring Hollywood, but for finding healing within it. What struck listeners most about Melissa Gilbert's reflection on Patty Duke wasn't just her deep admiration for Duke's undeniable talent. It was her empathy for the woman behind the fame. She was human, Gilbert said softly. That's something people forget when they look at stars. Patty wasn't just an actress, or an icon, or a tragic figure. She was a woman who longed for love, stability, and peace, and spent much of her life searching for it. Gilbert's words carried more than nostalgia. They carried kinship. She spoke not just as a fellow actress, but as someone who had walked that same tightrope between adoration and isolation, the price of growing up under Hollywood's unrelenting spotlight. In sharing her truth about Patty Duke, Gilbert peeled back the glossy surface of celebrity and offered a glimpse into the fragile humanity beneath. At 61, her reflections came with the clarity of experience, compassionate, unguarded, and unflinchingly honest. If there's anything I've learned from Patty, Gilbert concluded, it's that our struggles don't define us, they shape us. And if we can find the courage to share them, maybe we can help someone else feel less alone. Through that quiet honesty, Melissa Gilbert didn't just honor Patty Duke's memory, she reaffirmed her own strength and the healing power of truth. In a world where many choose silence, Gilbert chose to speak, and in doing so, she reminded us all that vulnerability isn't weakness, it's legacy.